So, this episode is going to be about bad habits once again, or why we're actually doing them, even though we actually know that they are not good habits or that they are bad habits. And this is kind of the question that we're going to talk about today. It's going to be an amazing episode, I really am pumped, but there's always going to be more after the intro. As every day. Because it is amazing, because it is great, because it is what I want to do. And with that being said, hello, welcome back to the next episode of the Self-Development with Tactics fucking podcast. And I am really looking forward to this episode. I don't actually know why, because yesterday's day was just really fucked up. Really. Even though the first episode that I recorded was I am actually in a pretty good mood, but then everything dropped and everything was shitty because I was stressed out. Yesterday is not today, and today is another day, and today is a fucking good day, and therefore we're going to go through something pretty valuable. All the necessary links should be down in the description, so if you're searching for something, please hit up the show notes if you're on the podcast and or the description if you're on the YouTube video at first, and if there is nothing that you're actually searching for, then please hit me up on social media and or write me an email, but I would heavily suggest you to hit me up either in the comments or on social media, because then you're going to get your answer just really fast. It still depends on the day, it still depends on the time and all those things, but you're probably gonna get your answer relatively quickly. But as I said before, we're gonna go through, we do what we know is bad for us, but why? And this is an article by the lifehack.org site, as I by now know, and it is an article by Brian Lee, the Chief of Product Management at Lifehack. And there is also a full profile or bio from him or of him. And it's specifically somehow going to be about smoking, eating unhealthy food, excessive alcohol consumption, and living a sedentary lifestyle, which I assume is actually not doing a lot of sports, inactive, This is what I've been thinking about. I've just been eating a bunch of meat. It sounds like I'm just only eating meat and that's it. And I'm just digesting it and I kind of feel like it is digesting. And I've actually come to the conclusion that when I'm eating meat, then it's most often then I'm not feeling that good afterwards in terms of, I really am digesting and I really notice that my fucking body is digesting the food that I just eat or I've eaten. And it is not the exact same thing that happens when I'm, for example, eating some veggies or if I'm eating some spaghetti and whatnot. Really interesting, it also has to say something. Poor diet, lack of exercise, smoking and drinking alcohol were some of the underlying causes of nearly half of the death in the United States. Tobacco, 435,000, which is 18.1% of the total US deaths is related to tobacco consumption. Inactivity and bad eating, 400,000, which is 16.6%, and alcohol consumption, which is 85,000. Which is 3.5%, which is actually not that much, to really be honest, I have assumed that it's gonna be way more, because alcohol is one of the things that, I don't know, I think it also depends on the culture, because obviously in, let's say, Germany and Austria, it's really in culture and really in society, which is really unfortunate, to be honest, because it's not good, and if you're living in a place where alcohol consumption is there's a stigma around that, then of course, I really assume there's first of all not going to be as many addicted people that are addicted to alcohol, somehow obvious, but there's also not going to be such a lot of deaths or also diseases, I think, in general, because at my point of view, I don't know, somehow a really ton of diseases are correlated to just drug consumption, especially alcohol, because it's it's poison, it really is poison, but still, weed and whatever is not really better. It still depends on the doses. It heavily depends on the doses. But so why we can't resist bad habits? Their explanation is I'm not quite sure about it. I still get it, and it still just leads to something that's incredibly valuable. And this is also one of the reasons why I'm actually going through this, because it's going to be about habits, which is actually something that I've realized by going through the whole thing. But the thing is, the headline of the whole article is about habits. And I've been very surprised by the fact that it's going to be about habits, but somehow a little bit dumb, but So why can't we resist those bad habits? Bad habits give you the comfort you need. Every action you take has a purpose behind it, even if you're not consciously aware of what this is, and the most common hidden purpose is comfort. And what I've been thinking about just immediately when I'm just hearing the word comfort or when I'm just reading it, it is going to be about taxis. It's going to be about those e-scooters that you're seeing just all over the fucking place. It still depends on where you're living, but I don't know. Like in the place where I'm going to school or where I am attending the school, there's like e-scooters all over the fucking place. It's everywhere. And I think someone said that in another city, it's actually also in the water and then all those things. I think it's in Switzerland, but I'm not quite sure about that. And which is like really fucked up, like just throwing them into water and whatnot, and basically then polluting the whole ocean or the whole water, and then also the environment in general. Like, yeah, it is fucked up. And on the other hand, what is this having to do with comfort? The problem is a lot of people would actually pay more for having the comfort, which is basically, or maybe also one of the reasons why people actually pay more for the exact same plane, just for comfort. Also one of the reasons why people are just taking taxis and or cabs and also taking those e-scooters, because it is comfortable compared to fucking walking and or just riding your bike and all other things. Of course, some people are taking the taxi or the cab because it is also convenient. I'm also talking about convenience and comfort and all those things, but sometimes it's also way faster. If you're just heading to a place and you just need to be on point there or on time there, then of course, I don't know, walking and just having the fear or having the possibility of being too late is probably not going to be the best idea. And it's probably also not going to be the most smartest idea. So, but still, a lot of people are paying for comfort. And I think it is also one of the things that you should be looking out for. If you're just kind of thinking about buying something, you should always ask yourself, is this just because of comfort? Is it because of it is convenient? Or could you just be doing something in a different way, which is obviously not that comfortable or that convenient, but it's costing you nothing or maybe even less. And it's really something to look out for, because I've seen it's quite often the case. And it is about also our reward system. If we are doing something, so I'm actually going to read it. Our brains are wired to be rewarded based on our reward, to be reward based, and our reward is the feeling of comfort that in turn triggers a release of dopamine or the feeling good hormone. Yeah. This causes us to crave more of it, and as we associate this good feeling with the bad habit. This explains why we continue to indulge in bad habits and find it hard to stop. It feels comfortable and we essentially get to exist in our safe zone. In other words, you get attracted to the reward despite knowing it is bad for you. So, and as they also point out there, and this is really highly about habits now, and it is really also highly about solving those habits or stopping those habits, because most often it's the case that we are smoking or we are doing something, like whatever bad habit it might be, we are doing it in a certain environment. We are doing it in a certain chain reaction. In terms of, some people are smoking every day after they've eaten something. Now the problem is we have based the bad habit of smoking something on the habit of eating something, which means that every time you're eating dinner, afterwards you're gonna just smoke a cigarette or smoke some vape or whatever it might be. And it is like layering those habits. First of all, there's the habit of eating something in in the evening. And on this layer, we're having another layer, which is the bad habit, which is smoking a cigarette. And now this is the problem, or maybe even kind of the thing that we should be realizing, or the thing that actually makes it relatively easy to stop this habit. Because if you basically stop, first of all, realizing it just does really a lot, by realizing that most often our habits are kind of based on the environment, are based on other habits, are based on whatever. By, for example, not eating at the exact same time or not eating dinner even, which is something that I do not suggest, but it would potentially be possible to then stop the habit of smoking something. Because if you stop the habit of eating something, then there's like no chain reaction, which is basically something that I've really felt, just actually felt, because I stopped eating something in the morning in terms of intermittent fasting, because I thought it is, I guess, a pretty good way to be more productive, because I can just do something in the morning instead of eating breakfast, which is taking quite some time. And I think it's also healthy, because always having something to digest in terms of your system having something to digest is probably not going to be the best thing for your body. I at least assume, I'm not educated, at least not that much, and I'm therefore also not going to talk about those things. But as far as I've just read articles and I've just been listening to other people that have been doing that, which is basically also something that we are then going to go through, it is healthy, and there are some reasons why it is good for you. On the other hand, there's also some reasons why you shouldn't be doing it. So please just have your own research, just research on your own and figure out what is working best for you and whatnot. But just because I just stopped eating something in the morning, I forgot about brushing my teeth, because the first thing that I did in the morning was just waking up, putting on my clothes and whatnot, and then I headed into the kitchen and ate something. The problem is, just because I didn't eat something, I also forgot about brushing my teeth, because always after I've eaten something, I've brushed my teeth. And just because the whole chain reaction was somehow cut in the middle or just wherever it might be, because I didn't eat anything in the morning, I forgot about brushing my fucking teeth. And it's fucked up, because it is really kind of, it's not awkward, but it's like just, it's like, why? I can't just remember the word, but it's like gross. It is gross, it really is gross, because, not brushing your teeth and whatnot, it's not that nice. It really is not. So as they say, smoking that cigarette on your work breaks causes your brain to associate the habit with freedom from work and relaxation, or drinking alcohol may be associated with letting yourself go and having a good time after a hard week, which means that, okay, if you want to have a hard week, then just use alcohol. This is what your brain says, which is actually something that's really understandable, because it's like, okay, this is something that I want, and this is a way how I can get it. So why shouldn't I be using it? Of course, it might not be the best way. Of course, it might not be the most smart way, but it is a way, and it might also be a very convenient and a very comfortable way to do so. And now it is really about habits, as I have highlighted here. This is actually the point where I realized that it is actually about habits and not about something else, which is, never mind, I guess. So everyone else is doing the bad habit too. We also tend to rationalize our bad behaviors. It is not difficult to find socially acceptable bad habits, like snacking, skipping exercising, and even smoking are things that lots of people do. And this is something that we are telling ourselves, like a lot of people are doing it as well. This is one of the reasons why it is fine for me to do as well, just because a bunch of other people are doing it, which is complete bullshit, to be honest, but it makes sense, because I said, well, other people are also intermittent fasting, therefore it is good for me. Is it actually the case? Not really, not necessarily. It is comparable to dissertation, because we are doing that. It always feels better when you're doing something and you know that somebody else is also doing that, whether it is good, whether it is bad. And it also depends on the person, if it is a person you're looking up to, if it is a person that you highly just appreciate and all those things, then it's going to be a better reason for you to do it as well. Because okay, this person is cool, this person is good, this person is really successful, this person is whatever. And therefore it is also okay for me to do that, which doesn't really make any sense, but still it is understandable, and still it really makes sense that people and us and whatever, we are thinking this way. We also look outwards for examples that validate our bad habits decisions, such as my grandfather smoked every day and lived until he was 90. Our minds love to find evidence that backs up our decisions, whether good or bad. Also one of the reasons why I have pointed out mine, because it is something good. I at least assume, it could also be something bad, as I said, but still, we are trying to validate everything, I guess, that we are doing by having a look at just other people, basically. And it might be also one of the reasons why we are tending to compare ourselves so much to other people, even though it's complete bullshit, and even though it doesn't make any fucking sense, we are still doing it. And there might be good reasons for why we're doing that. This might actually be one of the reasons, but it's, I think, going to be about validation. It's going to be about feeling good about yourself. It's going to be about maybe feeling like a part of society and feeling a part of the community and or the tribe or whatever you might be thinking about. So why you should be stopping those bad habits? Because they can lead to cancers, diseases and cell damage, unhappiness and depression, which is a really, really, really big one for me. And I, at my point of view, really think that not exercising, not doing anything with your body is actually a really good way to be unhappy and depressed. but only my opinion. Negative physical well-being leading to pain or lethargy. Yeah, it's actually lethargy or lethargy. Increased physical problems in later life, which might actually be one of the main reasons why people should actually, no matter who you are, should actually doing some exercise, some type of exercise, whether it be, I am a really advocate of weight training, not necessarily with weights, but also with your body weight, because I think that, for example, only riding your bike is probably not going to be enough, because you're strengthening your legs, but it's not about your fucking arms then, and you also need your arms when you're older, and you also need your arms to just do things. So I really believe that you should actually be working on your whole body. I'm also working on legs. It might be not one of the things that I really, really enjoy, to really be honest, but it is definitely important because you have to, because I'm using my legs every single fucking day, as well as you're using probably your arms every single day. Therefore, it does make sense, to work out your arms, to use your arms, to train your arms, to do something with your arms that make them stronger. Will it actually be climbing? Well, actually, as I'm thinking about climbing, I think climbing is one of the best sports for just whole body workouts, basically, because you have to use your whole fucking body besides just regular weight training. But this is probably something that everyone enjoys, because it's I would actually say that there is no goal in there. Of course, you can just have your personal records and you can also just break some other people's records and whatnot. But when you're climbing, then there's always going to be a goal. The goal of just getting as high as you actually can and being as fast as you can, which is actually also the thing with soccer and football and basketball and whatnot, because there's always a goal. You have to just take a fucking ball and put it somewhere. Whether it be just, I don't know, what it is called in basketball. I only know the German word, but not the English one. Basket? Is it? Nah, it's not, right? Nah, I don't think so. But the field goal or the field, is it the field zone or goal zone or end zone? It's the end zone, right? The end zone and or the goal in soccer. There's always a goal. There's always something that you have to do. And regular weight training is okay, you're just working out and that's quite it. And I really can understand, because I'm also seeing it and I'm also kind of feeling it, that it might not be something for everyone just because of this reason. But being mindful of the decisions we make today can keep our well-being topped up and constant while investing in our future selves. Because it literally is about investing in yourself. So how to stop these bad habits? The first one is, firstly, be mindful of what these habits are and how often we do them. What exactly triggers the habit, and is it an unconscious decision to do? Question why you have developed this habit in the first place. The second is, make a commitment to yourself that you want to eliminate this bad habit. Now you understand what may be triggering it. Can you find something positive to replace it? For example, you reach for the chocolate after a hard day. Can you find a healthier reward snack or reduce the amount of times you're allowed to have chocolate? Perhaps if stress is your trigger, try going for a run and give the brain another reason to release dopamine instead. Basically, there is no way we're destroying habits. We're basically always exchanging habits. Most often we're going to exchange bad habits for good habits, but you could also just do it vice versa. If you're having a bad habit of smoking, maybe you're going to replace it by doing something else, which means, okay, you're having dinner and then you're smoking something. Maybe you're doing something else afterwards. But the problem there is, if you then are okay, I'm going to eat my breakfast, then I'm going to go for a run, and then I'm going to smoke, then everything is fucked up. Because you then actually have to do something else again, because then it is again a chain reaction of doom and unhappiness and fucked up shit in the really end. Thirdly, be consistent, which is kind of obvious. The key to forming new habits is consistency. Yes, it is hard for a while, but your brain soon adapts to new ways of doing things until it starts to feel natural to you. Turn your reward system into a way to celebrate sticking to your new habit, to your new positive habits instead. I really hope you do so, because it actually is very important, to just not do fucking shit all the fucking time. I guess, it is important. It truly is important to, first of all, recognize it and also understand it, and then having the knowledge of doing something about it. And I really think that this article is a very good, maybe even summary about what you can be doing, especially the last part on just what you could be doing or how you can stop these bad habits. And there's also, another article, 13 bad habits you need to quit to quit right now, which is as well an article by the lifehack.com or .org site. Maybe you check it out as well. Maybe it is also valuable to you. But I think that this is going to be the end of the episode. I honestly really truly hope that I've been able to provide something to you, something that's of value to you. But yeah, I wish you the best health, happiness, and also success. And I also hope that you're going to remind yourself on how you're going to be remembered, which basically means your legacy, which basically means just doing something good and then also being remembered as someone good just because you did something good. On the other hand, I'm having 3 other questions for you, which is, why are you here? What are you trying to change? And what is bothering you the most? These 3 questions are hopefully going to show you your purpose and maybe even a business idea, since a lot of companies started out with solving something that really pissed them off in the first place. So yeah, gonna see you the next time. I at least hope. So I'll see you soon. Consider subscribing to the podcast, to the podcast and the YouTube channel and all those things. I would actually appreciate it. It's quite some work, but I like doing what I'm doing. I'll see you.